couple of 3 outs real quickly, put the offense back there, and then we make mistakes. And you can't have that, especially in this game when you're playing against good teams. We gave them opportunities, and we did not capitalize on ours. I mean, you look at the first half, and we had over 200 yards of total offense. They had 53.
Wow.
I mean, there's at that point, you'd like to think, hey, man, you got over 200 yards of offense in the first half. You have more than 10 points, and we just didn't do it, and that's probably the biggest disappointment I have.
A lot of pressure on your quarterback, obviously, when you have 8 quarterback sacks. Coach, was more of it from the pressure up front or more in the coverage in the secondary that receivers were not so well?
Oh, it was more up front. I mean, some of the things that they did initially, some things, some really good things. But, as you get into the game and you put yourself in that position when you're behind and you have to throw the ball, and they know you're going to throw the ball, it negates your ability to run it. I mean, we still rushed for 100 yards, but we were taken out of our running game in the middle of the third quarter. And now they're pinning their ears back and they're going. So, again, that's what leads to those types of things. That's why it's important that you maintain a lead. You get yourself into a lead position where you can keep your offense and use and pull from any part of your offense, whether it's a running game, play action, or a drop back pass. And when you are one-dimensional in terms of throwing the ball, they just pin their ears back and go. And I don't care who's the offensive line. When you're down by 2 touchdowns or a touchdown and 2 field goals or whatever it was, you're not going to have success, and that's exactly what happened.
And Coach, maybe some of the problems in the first half where you could have really gotten ahead and maybe been on a 24-point lead was some of the penalties that would come, almost unnecessary penalties when it's supposed to run from the ball. Or sometimes, and I thought maybe a question.
Well, the one that led to the first big mistake by us was the one where we were backed up and Cameron Artis-Payne rips one off for about 18 yards, and we got a holding call on Ed Dixon. Again, you try to get an understanding and feel for what the referees are looking for. You're never quite sure, and Ed got called on a call that, it could.
I thought that was vantage point.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
That's exactly. It could have gone either way. It could have been a no call, and unfortunately, the referee threw the flag. I'm not sure if the guy could have made the play even if he hadn't, been in that position. But, again, I'm not the one, with the flag.
The other big one was the Kelvin Benjamin, was it called a block in the back that negated the Fozzie Whitaker touchdown? Coach, what did that play look like when you broke it down on film?
The tough thing on that was Kelvin was in position. He had him, squared up on the side. And as the play started to develop, the guy starts running away from him. Well, at that point, you don't need to push him because now your hands are in the back position. You know what I'm saying? As the guy's coming through, you'd like to have jolted him earlier as opposed to riding him, and now your hands are in the back and you push him. And that's a very clear visual for the referee. And that was unfortunate just because he was in position initially.
To talk about your defensive pressure against the Vikings, is that also a product of the fact of how quickly they play in that Sam Bradford? The ball comes out very quickly. It's not easy to get to him.
Right, and every time he had to hold the ball, second and long, third and long situations, we got pressure there immediately. But what happens is, again, now you take the lead. You can go and run the ball. You can run hard play action, and it changes the dynamics on the defense as well. So, again, the second half really played in their favor, obviously, and we never did anything to negate that. We didn't. When we had opportunities to score, we didn't score. We get the ball down near the red zone, and we're not able to keep it going forward. We miss a field goal, stuff like that. You just can't miss opportunities to score in this game.
And Coach, one thing I thought was a positive is that when I looked at the defense from the first game to the second game to this game, you can see some mass improvement, not only from run gaps, but in the fits, but also the stoppage you mentioned, alluded to the stoppage on first on 3 and out. That was really key, and I thought they did a really good job.
The nice thing, Eugene, as you look at it too, is our third down defense has been very good, but what's helped it has been we've been good on first and second down.
Gotcha.
We've put ourselves in positions where it's been 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. When you do that, again, now you put yourself in a position where you can attack, and that's what our defense has done very nicely. We've been able to get some pressure for the most part with a 4-man rush, but again, when you're playing from behind, there's certain things that you can't do, or you can, but they become high risk for you, and sometimes it's not worth the exchange.
Coach Ron Rivera tonight on Panther Talk, our show presented by McDonald's. Coach, your football team was not able to prepare in a bubble last week. Every comment you made, every comment many of your players made was scrutinized. Social unrest was talked about more so than football. Did all of that have any impact on your ability to get this team and this team's ability to get themselves ready to play that game?
No, it wasn't. I think if it was anything, yes, it might have been a distraction. But for the most part, I thought our guys were able to, compartmentalize these things. And when they were here doing football, they did football. The hard part is when you've got to step in front of the media and they want answers. And quite honestly, as I said during one of my press conferences, these are young men. I mean, you're talking about guys that are trying to focus in on doing their job, what they're paid for, and then you're asking them to respond on something socially that, a lot of them may not be up on. And that's the hard part. I mean, it's a very difficult situation to put 23, 24, 25-year-olds in. And again, when you have elected officials who should be making comments, or that's who you should be going to for social direction as far as that's concerned. And I think we put too much stock in what the professional athletes think about some things as well. I really do.
Coach, heading into what will essentially be the quarter post, first 4 games of the season coming up this week. And not that the team didn't have your attention, not that it was a team that needed to be humbled, but you are at 1-2. What are the teachable things? What are some of the things that maybe can be garnered out of these first 3 games that you can learn from and improve upon going forward now?
Well, probably the biggest thing, Gene, probably the biggest thing you have to do more so than anything else is capitalize. Yes. Capitalize on the field position you create, capitalize on the possession time that you have. You get down into the red zone, you've got to put points on the board. Kicking field goals is not good enough. Defensively, takeaways. Put yourself in situations where you can shorten the field for your offense. And again, just continue to be good in third down. I mean, it's very simple, very basic in terms of the things that we need to do as a football team, but we just got to do them better. Special teams can't give up big plays to the opponent, and that's exactly what happened. We had a couple of things that happened on that punt, but they're not going to call everything. So you've got to go out and you've got to play and you've got to make things happen. The biggest thing I worry about is a lot of young guys that are playing for us this year. I mean, this year's team is younger than last year's, obviously. The thing I'm concerned is a lot of these young guys don't understand that, hey, you don't wait for somebody else to make a play. You go make the play. And that's one of the things that we're trying to get across to our young players is that, hey, you're here for a reason. We believe in who you are. Now go out and do it. Prove that we were right in trusting you.
And Coach, you kind of already talked about special teams, but I want you to talk about it. Special teams is always kind of for anywhere from 28 to 25% of the game. And each special teams play is like a play, almost a mini game in itself, because if you don't capitalize on a play, punt return, punt team, and do your job, that potentially swings the pendulum so far that you could put the offense or the defense in a bind.
Well, when you look at it, it really is about field position. And that's probably the biggest thing that we all have to understand is that when you get down there and you put yourself in a position where you can pin them back or they pin you back, and again, something's going to happen. Either they make a play like they did against us, or they punt. And now you have a chance to make a play go the other way. So flipping the field is really important. So special teams does play a big role because that's what people like to say. That's the hidden yardage. And that's the thing that we have to be aware of.
Everybody in the building looks to you to be the leader in